Thank you so much for coming today, and please welcome to the stage J. August Richards, Amy Acker, and Ron Glass.
People here.
I think they're still loading people in, but we wanted to get as many questions to you guys as possible.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Jay.
Wow.
Wow.
So we took some questions from Twitter, so I'm going to do those ones just so that those people who can't be here can get their questions asked. So this is from Burgess from Twitter. There's such a community around all things Joss. As an actor, how is being part of that family a unique experience?
I mean, I think it's more of a blessing than anything else, because you get to meet all these people who, you know, we've actually never worked with each other, but I get to meet cool people like Ron, and Jay and I get to see each other in different roles, and I don't know, it's just neat to get to play so many different parts with, it's like having a theater troupe. Like, we all have this trust and are able to jump into parts, and it's the closest thing to being in a theater company that you can have, and still have Joss Whedon write words for you.
Yeah, and have that theater company turn into weekend Shakespeare readings, which turn into Shakespeare movies. I remember when we read that. Did you play the same part at the reading at his house?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You were so good in that.
What part did you read?
I was so jealous though when I saw that movie. Did I ever tell you?
You should have been in.
When you were all kissing on Wesley and stuff. I mean, Alexis.
There's been a lot of people I've met today who are jealous that I got to kiss you. So there's a lot of ladies. And Ron was jealous I got to kiss him.
These guys are my connection to what's happening now.
Must be difficult being a legend.
Hang around, hang around, hang around.
Oh, but also about being a part of such a great community. You know what I love about it too? It's like, as many times, you know, I go to a fair number of conventions, and I get really excited when I see people that I met at another convention, and then I see them at a new convention, and I feel like I am, you know, making friends. So that's always nice.
Your family travels with you. Your
Exactly.
community travels with you. So this one's from Myra's Girls. This is for Amy. If she could pick, who would Friend end up with for her happily ever after? Not that Joss gives us any of that.
Was that question, who would Fred end up with?
Mm-hmm.
I think we have to go with Gunn, right?
You can be honest. You can be honest. I won't take it hard. I won't have any hard feelings.
You've got so many ladies now. I mean...
No, you can tell them whatever you really, you know, feel in your heart, you know.
Willow? I don't know.
What'd you say? Willow?
How is it different? Well, how is it different from your first shows working on S.H.I.E.L.D.? Because I mean, obviously that's why we're all here. But how is it different from being on, you know, Firefly to working on S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Well, at this point, they may have more similarity than differences.
Okay.
In the sense that, as far as I know, at this point, the character that I played on S.H.I.E.L.D. is dead. I mean, what can I say? just said at this point. Nobody called me.
Well, Amy and Jay, like just your experience. Well, I don't know.
What a segue.
Yes, I'm subtle like a brick in the face.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm gonna move this here right now. I'm gonna take a pano picture, so just ignore me. We're talking. Well, no, it's a panel, so I gotta go across.
Are you answering your question?
Well, I was gonna let you answer it.
Wait, what was it?
How is working on S.H.I.E.L.D. different from working on Angel?
Oh, geez. Well, it was, I mean, well, for me, it's kind of, so I'm not dead yet, I don't think. I just have maybe a head injury or something. But, you know, I've only done one episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hopefully they will have me back. But
How could they not?
So it was different in the sense that Angel, we were there for 5 years and we're really part of that family and knew each other and really knew the character. And this is a new character that I've just started to get to explore. So it's shorter.
But it's such a legendary character in terms of the mythology of the universe.
I know. I mean, I always wondered who was going to play the cellist, and I was excited, and I kept thinking, oh, I wonder who will be that part. And then when it got to be me, I was excited and nervous about it. It's good.
You don't actually play the cello, though, do you?
I do not play the cello. I took a cello lesson. Apparently it takes more than 3 hours to learn to play the cello. I kind of thought I would pick it up pretty easily, but not so much. So I played the viola in 5th and 6th grade. That didn't translate as much as I thought either.
So we're going to take questions from you guys. We have 2 people that have mics. There's Colby right over here and then Betsy right over here. So if you'd like to ask questions of our panelists, we would love to hear from you.
In case anybody's wondering, my panel shot turned out amazing. Oh, I should, huh? What should I say? Does a panel shot tweet well?
Yeah,
okay. All right, cool. I'll tweet. I like that. I like the way you think. Nice. Okay, I'm listening.
Well, you still have your answer to give. How is it different?
Do I?
Yes.
Oh, technology. This takes us all out of the moment. How is it different? Well, gosh, that's difficult. It's hard to answer because, I mean, they're so different, you know? And again, Angel was so many years that it was, you know, sometimes people ask me, okay, I gotta tell you guys something. I have a habit of not answering questions directly. I just say whatever comes to my mind. But like people ask me, like, you know, if I prefer gun or do I prefer mic/Deathlock, and I can't really have a preference because they are so different and unique to me, and I also feel like if I have a preference of characters that they'll kind of stop coming to me, you know, stop appearing to me. So that's my answer, non-answer to the question.
I like it. It works.
Just want to say I'm a huge fan of Whedon. And this question is for Amy. Love the scene in Angel where Fred dies. And sorry, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it.
Spoiler alert.
Fred dies and turns into Lyria, and I was just wondering if you could talk about that scene because that was so amazing, the emotion in that scene and just all the feels.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that was a great, hard day, but it was awesome. It would have been even better if Jay was there. But it was great being with Joss and Alexis, and I think I told this story yesterday, if anyone was at that panel, so pretend you just heard it for the first time. But the scene in Avengers at the end, where they're all eating shawarma, was inspired apparently by that day, because we did that scene and all day it was like we were crying and sad, and then afterwards Jay and Joss and I were like, we should go get a drink. And then we just sat there for an hour and didn't talk to each other. So it was equally emotional for all of us.
For Amy, sort of backing on that question, what does it take as an actress to go from sweet bread to this all-powerful god of Lyra?
Well, being an all-powerful god comes a lot more natural. I couldn't even say that with a straight face. No, it was just having Joss as a director is what it was. He actually, when he told me that I was going to be Fred, he said, Amy, would you like to come meet for coffee? And that sounded strange. And I went and met him for coffee, and he said, so Fred's gonna die. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then he waited a long time and said, but you're still going to be on the show. And then actually at Allie and Alexis's wedding, he showed up with some scenes that he had written for Illyria. And I was like, okay, is this what we're going to do at the after party? But so that was about 3 months before we even started shooting the Illyria stuff, and he had me and Alexis go over to his house one night and kind of work on these scenes and decide what we wanted the character to be. And he had these lights in his kitchen that could change colors, as people do. And I think, you know, it started out, we had yellow lights or red lights, and we were doing the scene in different colored lights, and then he put on the blue lights, and he thought, we were all like, yeah, let's do blue. So we got to kind of really work on the character and figure out what it was going to be, which was fun. Except for the only other bad part was, like, when I became Illyria, all of the crew that was, like, my best friend and everyone liked me when I was Fred, and then, like, no one talked to me for a week. And I was thinking, I must be really terrible at this part. And then finally one of the camera guys came up and said, I was like, why does everyone hate me? And they're like, we're scared of you.
Okay, I just tweeted it.
Hi, so you've all been fairly involved in some oh my god moments in your shows, and I'm wondering, do you get them all at once, like boom, by the way you're a doll, by the way you're the one Alpha attacked, all this happens at once, or do y'all get it piecemeal like we do as we get to kind of digest it and fall in love with the characters a little bit before we find out all their dirty secrets?
Well, I think in a certain kind of way, it depends. You know, I did a show, one of the first shows that I did for a long time was a show called Barney Miller. And, you know, ordinarily, when you have a table read, you read the whole script. And usually when you start, like, you know, for a half-hour show, generally you rehearse for 3 days and you sort of block and all that stuff on the 4th day, and then the 5th day you come in and you do it. Because you have an audience. Barney Miller, the first year, had an audience, and the next 7 years, our audience was our camera crew. And part of the reason for that, well, there were a couple of reasons. One is the executive producer told the network that he knew where the damn laughs were, so he didn't need an audience. And then the other thing is, in his back pocket, which he didn't tell people, but I'm sure that this is part of the reason for it, is that often when we would go in the first day, we would have 5 pages. And so we rehearsed the 5 pages, and then we'd sit around and wait until the other pages came down from, you know, heaven. And so almost every scene was a surprise, because we didn't know what was coming next. Of course, you know, for those of us who were regulars, it got to be okay after a while because we sort of knew who the characters were. But then even for us, I mean, occasionally, you know, he would throw in throw something in the works that was really, really surprising, like, okay, you know, today you're going to be a woman, so shave your mustache. Oh, okay. What size dress do I wear? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know. So anyway, but the thing is that a lot of the guest characters really had a really, really tough time, especially the women, because they didn't know who the hell their characters were either, and they would be, you know, I mean, ordinarily, you know, you want to prepare and you want to get stuff like that. So anyway, long answer, but the thing is that you kind of get accustomed to kind of being on the balls of your feet, so to say, in terms of being, you know, being ready for whatever's asked of you.
And on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know, everything's so private and locked down that I honestly do feel like I'm watching it with the audience and learning about what's happening as it airs on television, because they don't give you a heads up at all. As most of you know, I didn't know I was playing Deathlock until I became Deathlock. I mean, I fit for the costume and still didn't know who I was playing.
And that said, they cannot give you spoilers for season 2. They cannot give you spoilers for season 2.
But it's interesting, you know, you go in your dressing room, you're playing Sergeant Harris, you go in your dressing room and you see these nylons, you know, in a bra. Like, really? So anyway.
Funny thing about that too, is that on? Because on Angel, I remember, like, I was like certain that we were gonna be married and have babies, like Fred and Gunn were gonna be together, and then all of a sudden, it was like we weren't together anymore. So, and actually even before that, I was like, oh, Wesley and I are at the ballet, and then we started making out. So it's always nice when you get surprised about who you're going to be kissing that day.
Well, first of all, love you guys. You do wonderful work. Really appreciate all you do. So all of your characters, all of you have had characters that have continued on in comic books after your show has ended. Have you read these books? Do you feel that they reflect the character well? And Ron specifically, did you know Book's backstory as revealed in the comics when you were playing him on Firefly?
I didn't have a clue. I've read the book and I still don't. And that's it.
Did you read the Angel comics?
I haven't read them. I mean, that's been kind of the fun thing about today, is seeing all of the covers that people have brought by. I'm like, oh, I wish I looked like that. They're so pretty.
I haven't read them either, and I kind of don't read them because I feel like if I don't get to play it, then I don't want to know about it.
Like, that would have been so cool.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the thing is that there's some, you know, there's some directors and writers and so forth that you work with, and if you don't have all of the information, you know, you can get